To this day, America, I want you to know, even though you are not hearing about it on a regular basis, I want you to know the people in East Palestine are still suffering, and it is because of independent media sources like ours that you are hearing about this. And shout out to Status Quo too, who is in there regularly talking to the people. They continue to face the effects of the derailment from a couple of months ago. This headline right here: families in East Palestine, Ohio are still living in limbo months after Norfolk train derailment. Almost 3 months after a fiery Norfolk train derailment blackened the skies. They just poof, poison everywhere, you all. Sent residents fleeing and supercharged a long-running American debate over rail safety. Residents in East Palestine, Ohio say they are still living in limbo. Norfolk Rail is paying for lodging for some families, but won't say how many remain out of their homes while the railroad exacts tens of millions of tons of contaminated soil, a process the Environmental Protection Agency expects to take another 2 to 3 months. So while they're excavating that, they don't know how long these families will be in limbo and how long they were suffering. And let us not forget, America, the soil, the air, and the water still vulnerable. The wildlife there still vulnerable from this. And the railroad also must remove toxic chemicals from 2 creeks, which could take longer. And that's where all of the fish, the reporting of the fish dying in that creek, and nothing, and I say nothing, from the Secretary of Transportation, AKA Mayor Pete Buttigieg. Benny, any final thoughts on this before we go to our next segment?
Yeah, just this is a constant trend we see in the United States. Because look, if this happened in Beverly Hills, like, would it take this long to clean everything up? Would they have such little response? No, of course not, right? We know exactly why this is the response that's happening, right? We would still be talking about this if this happened in Beverly Hills. But when it happens to regular working class folks, then all of a sudden it just means that the company's gonna have to maybe deal with higher insurance payments or something like that. It's not seen as like a real problem that affects real people's lives. And unfortunately, that is how disaster response has been in the United States for a very long time.
It really, truly. And again, we constant reminders of the failure of our felons, systemic failures now, because we're not talking about individual failings, we're talking about systemic failures that has life and death. These failings have life and death consequences. So whether it's Indiana, whether it's Michigan, whether it's Pennsylvania, these failings impact the lives of everyday people. And let us not forget the ecosystem that is dependent on human beings to do the right thing. We are definitely, as you know, gonna keep you posted on Norfolk and making sure that there are finally some consequences. And again, shout out to Congressman Ro Khanna and others who introduced legislation to put stiffer penalties on the rail industry. So far, as you guessed it, it hasn't gone anywhere, and we must keep pushing nevertheless.